Hey guys and girls, how are you doing? Hope you're doing great. It's been a while, it's been a month plus. I haven't made a video on this series, but we'll try to finalize this slowly but surely. You guys know I'm kind of slow with all this. Lots of gaming videos coming out. I'm sorry about that, but it's just a way for me to keep it alive. But here we are. Today's video is going to be about fixing the input system mostly, and a few new things with the tile map and the player. It's a lot of new things. We'll go through it step by step. So yeah, let's just get to it. So we're going to start off here in the Tile.h file, and we'll head on over to the constructor here. What we want to do is we want to add a way to create tiles at any specific position on a grid. So we're going to need two things here. We're going to need a position value, X and Y coordinate. And then we're going to need a tile size because we're going to have a grid, right? And that grid is going to be, every cell in that grid is going to have the size of our tile size, which we set in our TileMap.h. See, we have a tile size variable here. So we're going to be using that. So firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a const unsigned reference, and we're going to call it grid pos X. So it's going to be a grid position X. So we'll write maybe grid position 1, 2, and it's going to be at that grid position, but we're going to multiply it with the tile size. So the actual position is going to be, say your tile size is 50 and you say grid position x2, the x coordinates then going to be 100 because we'll do 2 times 50. It'll all make sense in the end. And here we're going to say y as well. And then we're going to have a const, I can just paste it again, and we'll say tile size. Since the tile size already in unsigned, so we won't have an issue, but the positions are going to be kind of in float, so we're going to have to convert that later. And let me tell you something here, guys. I'm not really, now I've worked a lot at jobs and stuff since I've done this, so I've kind of stopped using unsigned, but I'm just using it here just because we kind of went with that. But I would recommend just use a regular int instead. You won't make that big of a difference unless you know 100% you won't have negative numbers. Sometimes here you can have issues because with floating variables and everything going on, it's just a pain in the butt. So just try to keep a track, or just kind of keep that in your head that unsigned might not be the best choice always. But anyway, let's copy all of this and we'll go to the CPP file, and we're just going to go ahead and paste it in here just like that. So now we have 3 more things to play with. And to use this, what we're going to do is we're just going to set the sprite itself, which is a SF sprite, right? And we're going to set that to, or we're going to use the set position. So we want to use these parameters, right? Or the values they're in. So we're going to say we have to convert it to float as well because they're all set in float. Float. Sorry, my keyboard is messing up right now. I think I have to buy a new one. Grid pos X multiplied by tile size, and then we'll do a comma, copy the entire thing, and we'll say grid position Y multiplied by tile size for the Y coordinate. So perfect, there we go. Next up is the tile map. So the tile map class here just contains all our tiles, right? So what we want to do is we want to use all our new stuff that we added to tile into this as well, plus a few more things. But we'll get started in the H file. What I'll do is I'll add an inline function here just to get the tile size, because we're going to have to use that later. And I think I'll put it here. So I'll just say inline functions, something like that. And we'll go ahead and add it. So inline const, we want a return value of unsigned since this is unsigned, right? So const unsigned reference, get tile size. And it's a very simple function. It'll be constant. We won't change anything in here. We'll just return something. So return this tile size, boom, semicolon, semicolon, whatever, done. So we'll be able to use this a little later. So let's jump on into the CPP file. And we have a few things to do here. Let's start at the constructor or the add tile here. We have a few things we have to do. So we need to make sure that this also isn't below 0, right? Because and as well, it can be at 0. So when we add a tile, this position is going to be a grid position. It's not going to be a floating point exact position. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then we'll multiply that by the tile size while creating the tile. So it'll be placed perfectly on a grid. Now this can't be below 0, and it can't be greater than the size of the tile map, right? Let's go ahead and add that as well. So x is greater than equal to 0. And we'll do the same thing for the y as well. Y is greater than equal to 0. And once that is done, we should be safe. We covered both. Now, in here, while we create our tile, we also want to pass in the position that we did, and then the tile size as well, just so we have that covered. So now we'll create a tile at the grid position we want. Now let's jump over to Game.h. Now we'll start with the input stuff because we have a few input changes we want. Now the first thing I want to do to start that off is to add a few things. I'm going to add 2 std maps. So maps consist of a string key and or any type of key you want actually, but we'll use a string key and some kind of other value. So you kind of map a value to another value so you can access them later using that key. And in our case, it'll be a string key. So this is going to be for input keyboard mappings and mouse mappings. And it'll all make sense in a little bit. Let's get ahead, just go ahead and start adding this. So map like that, std, boom, string. And then we'll do a SF keyboard key. So here our key will be a string, and the value we'll map it to will be of the type SF keyboard key. Once that's done, we'll say what we want it to be named. So keyboard mappings like that. And we'll do the same thing for mouse as well, since we'll be mapping our mouse buttons to some kind of key as well. So how is that? I think it is mouse button and then mouse mappings. And it'll all make sense in just a little bit. What we want more is we want to create a function called void init input. So we'll init all our mappings in there. And then we'll go ahead and do an update input function, which we don't have. So I'll just put it on the top, void update input. Oh my God, I can't spell, dude. Am I even recording right now? I hope I am. We'll see. Anyway, once that's done, let's jump on into the CPP file and use all this beautiful stuff. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the init input function. And I'll just put it maybe right here. So void game init input. I'll define this function for us. And this is going to be quite a bit of typing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and type it out. Let's start with the mouse bindings. So I'll comment it as well. Mouse bindings and keyboard bindings. Now we created a new variable, right? So mouse mappings, sorry. And what do I want my key to be? So we want a key for adding a tile and removing a tile. So I'll call it button add tile. So that'll be our key, and that will get a value of the left mouse button. Mouse button left. Done. The beautiful thing now is we can just copy paste all this. So boom, that will be right now. And we'll say button remove tile. And now we'll go on to the keyboard mapping, since all we need is a left and right mouse button mapping. So it's not a big deal. What is it saying? Okay, whatever. I don't care about that. We'll do this. If you want to go hardcore, if you're making a bigger project, this key with a string might be a little pain. So I'd rather also make an enum class or whatever and rock with that. But right now we'll just use a very kind of a basic thing, just so you get the idea of what we're doing. And what this makes possible, basically, what this allows us to do is that we can change our mappings easily. So whatever key we give to this, or whatever value we give to this key, we can change it easily here, and we'll change our keyboard mappings for the same action. So it'll be a little easier, a little more flexible, a little more dynamic. But let's go ahead and do this. Keyboard mapping, we'll say key move left. So moving our character left will be a simple SF keyboard key A. Perfect. Copy paste time. Let's go, guys and girls. Let's do 4 of these, and we'll say move right. And that is for now D. You could change this to anything. I could change this to F or something like that, and then that would move our character right. But we haven't implemented that yet perfectly, so it'll still be a while we get there. So D keyboard, let's see what is up. It's W, or it's kind of not. We might not need up, but let's just do these anyway. Down would be S. Why are you bugging out? Okay, good. And then jump is space. So we need one more. And we'll say space. And we'll say keyboard key jump. Simple as that. Good. Now this is just the init function, and obviously we need to call it. So let's go to the where are we? The game. So just after window, I'll do this init input. Perfect. Now we have some bindings set up which we can use. Now we'll come to a big function, which is going to be kind of interesting. And that is an update input function. So let's go ahead and add that to, let's see, update tile map, update player, blah, blah, blah. Let's put it at the top here. Like this. Let me just check. Boom. Let's go to Game.h. Okay, do we have an update input? Yes. Can I just quick actions definition? Boom. Good. Nice. All right, so let's go ahead in here. Created it for us. This is going to be kind of a big function as well. There's a lot of changes, but let me give you kind of an outline. So firstly, we're going to update mouse positions, which we'll use later to add the tiles. So just keep track of where our mouse is. We'll do a player movement update here, and we'll have some tile functions. So these 3 things are what we're going to do. Let's just start up in here. Firstly, I just want to print it out just so you guys see how to get the mouse position. So let's just do a cout int sf mouse get. It has a get position function nicely, just very convenient for us. And then you have to kind of give it a reference point. So where do you want to get the position? Do you want to get it on the entire window? Do you want to get it relative to, or the entire screen, sorry, or relative to the window you're in? So what we want is relative to our window. So we don't get 0, 0 at the top of our screen, but rather at the top of our window, right? Top left of our window. So let's go ahead and get window. Boom. And what we'll have to do here is get window. Boom. And how many parentheses do I have? I have a lot of parentheses. So this one is for this one. And then, okay, why is my keyboard messing up? This TileMap.get tile size. This is where we're using the get tile size function. It's giving me so many parentheses. And then we'll do a space here. And then we're going to do the same thing for the Y as well. Now, what is happening here? Like that. Boom, divided by this. Okay, can I just do the same thing? I think I can do the same thing. Y, and then divided by get tile size, and then we'll do a new line. God, that was a long line. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Boom, now we'll do the actual mouse position. So mouse X. And this is also interesting. We'll just get this right here. I think we'll divide it by the tile size as well. Like this. And divided by the tile size. And that is for the X position. Yes. And then we'll do the same thing for Y. So just go ahead and copy paste this again. And just make sure you change everything to Y. Otherwise, you're going to have some big issues here. go ahead and do that. And this is just something we'll remove later. It's just for now, just to check it out. Anyway, once we have that, let's go ahead and do some player movement stuff. Now, we did have a few input things here, which we'll fix and change a little bit with. But for now, let's just keep it here. Let me check what we're doing. Okay, so first of all, go and do the player movement. So if SF keyboard is key pressed, and this is going to be to move left. Now we're going to use our mapping. So this keyboard mappings, and now it's important to get the correct key in here. Otherwise you can have some issues. Key move left. See, I'm already having issues here. So if that is the case, we'll do this player move -1F and then 0F. So that's in the X direction. And then we'll just copy this like that. Boom. And then we'll say right. And that will move us in the right direction. So positive X coordinate. Now, tile functions. Or we'll add a jump as well. Sorry about that. So boom. Good. Let's see. Let's do the jump like that, which we'll add a little later. So bear with me here. And then key jump. And then we'll do this player get can jump, which we haven't added yet either. So I'm kind of writing here from my notes, so it's a little more structured, but we'll add these two things soon and they'll just start working. So don't worry about that. But just make sure it's typed like this and you'll be good to go. Once that's done, we kind of have most of our player functions there. Now to tile functions, all we're going to do is just add and remove tiles, right? But here we're going to have to use our mouse. So mouse is button pressed instead of is key pressed. And we'll do mouse mappings and mouse, or how did I write that? Button add tile. And once we do that, we already have our TileMap add tile function here. So we'll add it at mouse X and mouse Y, which we created above, if you remember. These two here. And to remove tile, very simple. Else. Make sure it's an else if, otherwise you might have some issues here if you're trying to do both things at the same time. Button remove tile at that same position. So good. Pretty much these two things are the only things we're going to have add to player, but we'll do that in just a second. Let's go down to our update function. Boom, boom, boom. So we'll just remove this part here. And what we're going to do is simply just add our new function, this update input. And we'll be calling all our nice code now. So shouldn't be worse or harder than that. Let us remember to add this one as well. Sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't figure that out. There we go. Good. So we still have the close window close stuff in here. So we don't need to change that. We can just keep that. But we'll, if you want, you can put it in here as well. But for now, I'll keep update input here. And the last thing we're going to do in the game here is we're going to change our tile sheet. So instead of player sheet here in init tile sheet, we're going to say tile sheet. Since if you know, I have kind of added the texture for tile sheet here. It's just a little box, nothing special. If you just pull from the Git repo, you will get that. So go ahead and do that and you should get it. If you have any other 50 times 50 pixel tile here, you just add that to the tile sheet. Shouldn't be a problem. So just go ahead and do that. And lastly, but not least, we'll just do a little cleanup. So we'll remove the add tile in init tile map. We won't need that anymore. We'll be adding our own tiles. And we'll remove the, let's go to game.render, I think it was. Game, where's the render function? Here. I'll just remove that comment there because it kind of bugs me. Since we're in render, we don't need to comment that we're rendering. It's kind of dumb. So there you go. Finally, we're at the player class. Thank God. Let's jump in here and let's start adding some nice things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a inline function called getCanJump. If you remember, we added that to the game class there. But let me just go ahead and do that here. So instead of, maybe I should do inline functions. These should be inline as well. I don't know why I didn't make them inline, but never mind. You can fix that if you want. I'll just add it here. Const bool getCan. Make sure to spell it correctly. We kind of did this in the reverse order now. We added it. We called it before we actually created it, but try not to do that. But in this video, I kind of messed up with that. I'm sorry, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Return this can jump. Once you've done that, you should be good to go. Very nice. Inline, sorry. Inline, what am I doing? Inline const jump. There you go. Once you have that done, let's go to the next thing. We're going to need a header for something called jump. So where should we put that? Let me just put it below this, or I'll put it below move actually. What am I doing? Right here. So void jump will allow us to jump a little bit, and we'll do a little cleanup here. Let's see. Where's set can jump? Here we go. So let us add this to inline instead, since we should have an inline here. There you go. And I can actually put it here instead, just so we have it. Makes it a little cleaner, I think. Jumping over to the CPP file. Now we'll start adding everything. Let's start off with the player jump function. And I think I will put it, where did I put it in the H file? I put it below move. So I think we'll put it below move here as well. Right here. Player jump. Very simple function. This function is going to allow us to jump. Let me set the velocity of our character, the Y velocity to be specific, to -70. I've written here. I'm not sure. Let's see, it should be fine. And then let's do this can jump equals false. Since we already jumped, we shouldn't be able to jump again directly until we reset it. That's why I have that there. So perfect. We have that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to update movement. And we're going to remove a bunch of this stuff. So we'll remove everything from, let's see, all of this, I think. Anim state player idle to this. Yep. Should be fine. Like that. Since we have the idle in here anyway in the else, so we don't need that. So it's going to be good. All the other input is kind of done in game now, so it's kind of clean. So leave it as that. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to clean up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and update animations, and we're going to remove a cout here, since this kind of bugs everything out. Cool. Now all that's left to do is run it and fix any bugs that we got. So let's go ahead and see what bugs we got. No, I don't want to do yes. God damn it. Oh, it should be get can jump. There you go. Shouldn't be an issue now. Wrong one there. Sorry, guys. There you go. Now it shouldn't crash, and we should be able to jump, and we should be able to place stuff, and we should be able to remove all these tiles. Look at this, guys. Damn. This looks nice. So now we don't have any issues. If you try to create boxes outside, shouldn't be a problem. If you try to remove boxes from outside, the window bound should be a problem. So we have this kind of in a grid position, right? So let's see. If you read the numbers on the side here, it's kind of telling me where we are relative to the window. So that's why it's kind of giving me a minus out here and a 0, 0 in the top left corner. If we didn't give any window to that function, where we're kind of checking here the get window position to the get mouse position, it will kind of give me the position of the top left of my screen, which I don't want. So here you go. Looks pretty good to me. Good progress on this. Next one, we'll probably add some collision to the boxes, just be able to stand on these should be nice and jump from box to box. And yeah, we'll go from there. Thanks for watching this video. Sorry, it's a little long. I'm trying to make a little longer videos since I don't make them that often, but hopefully you liked it. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? Thanks. Bye-bye.